Hey, listeners. This is Brett Hespel of the Pridecast. Just wanted to thank you for joining the show, but we also want to make sure you follow along. So here's our other host, Adam DeCare. We'll talk about where you can follow us.
Yeah, again, thanks for logging in, giving us a listen. Make sure to follow us on all your social media needs on Twitter and Instagram. You can find us at Porter Pridecast for both. So give us a like, give us a retweet, spread the word, tell all your friends, tell all your followers, like both those accounts, and keep on coming back.
And you can get the show, you can get our podcast wherever you find your podcasts. And you could also check out Porter Pridecast TV on YouTube. Just search Porter Pridecast on both, and you'll be able to come up with them. So make sure you subscribe to both of those channels so you can get all the episodes when they come out.
Don't forget to leave us those reviews, preferably 5 stars, and keep spreading the word. Go Porters.
Go Porters. Welcome to the Porter Pridecast, episode number 11. I'm one of your hosts, Brett Hespel, Lockport High School, basketball and social studies, joined with our other host, Adam DeCare, football and social studies. And you are in the place where you get the only analysis about Lockport athletics. You won't find it anywhere else. Number 1 rated podcast in the LTHS 205 listening community. What's up, DeCare? How you doing?
I'm doing good. You know, we celebrated the anniversary last episode, double digits. Here we are with 11. You know, the Sticks episode 1-1. You know, good times to be had. Good things going on here at Lockport. So let's keep the ball rolling.
Yeah, it's. I said the other day, 10 down, 10,000 to go. So just scratching the surface of all the Porter Pride.
Yeah, now 9,999 to go.
That's right. That's how you do math. Correct. This is good. We're learning.
Pays to be married to a math teacher.
We are learning. That's right. Yeah, let's not waste any time because we have a special guest, and I think he's going to have a lot to share with us today. So let's get right to the 5 things we like.
Let's do it.
Are you going first?
Yeah. So first thing up here, we got some great positive news. Obviously, a lot of negative things associated with IHSA sports, with cancellations and push things back. But IHSA came out with some great news that they were going to extend the seasons for golf as well as cross country to now include sectional meets. So being able to compete a little bit longer and some of those milestones that some of those athletes will be able to achieve. You know, that's great news for all athletes.
Yeah, so they were going to run just regionals or just compete at regionals. Yeah. Now they're getting an extra week for sectionals. That's great for them. Hopefully that bodes well for a sign for the rest of the sports coming up so we can have as close to a normal situation as we can. So Good job, IHSA. Proud of you guys.
Keep it up.
That's number 1. Number 2, drum roll. Our special guest today, the first Hall of Famer. That actually might not be true because we had Coach Travanik on. She's a Hall of Famer.
First Hall of Fame athletic trainer.
Definitely the first Hall of Fame athletic trainer. Maybe the second Hall of Famer we've had, but a Hall of Famer nonetheless now. Lockport's very own athletic trainer, Mr. Joe Cunnane, will be joining us. He was just nominated and inducted into the Illinois Athletic Trainers Association Hall of Fame. Obviously, the highest honor you can receive as an athletic trainer in Illinois. So congratulations to him. We both know him well. It'll be good to hear from him. He goes under the radar sometimes because, you know, it's one of those jobs where you only see him if something goes wrong. So it's great to know that he's recognized by his peers for all his contributions.
Yeah, looking forward to it's always a pleasure getting to talk Coach Cunnane, especially, you know, about Lockport. So, all right, speaking of Hall of Famers, potentially a future Hall of Famer, our third thing we like, Lockport's very own sophomore Franny Frieri was featured as a Under Armour lacrosse highlights and is a Under Armour All-American, so possibly future lacrosse Hall of Famer.
Well, future guest on the Porter Pridecast for sure.
I think that was like a little informal invite there. So
yeah, definitely. We'll have to get her on. Like I went out to a lacrosse meet, maybe it was last year, and it was like, she scores goals like crazy. So she's really, really good. So that's awesome for her. Good to see that. It's always good to see Lockport athletes doing so well and being recognized.
Especially on the national stage. So great job, Franny. Number 4, speaking of honoring, we've got,
so then she needs to come on a nationally recognized podcast like this one.
That's right. That is right. So the stage has been set.
See?
4th thing is honoring the 6 senior girl golfers. Monday night was senior night, so always a great night of sports, especially to cap off your career in high school. So great job, ladies. Off to a great start for the season. So great job.
Girls golf is doing awesome. They're doing awesome. You got a couple more weeks if you want to head out to the golf course and check them out. We did have Lizzie Anderson. She's a junior, but we did have her on the show. What, episode 8? Is it episode 8? 9? Episode 9. Episode 9. Yeah, episode 9. So if you want to hear more about girls golf, go back and check out episode 9 and hear from Lizzie. So that's cool. And then the 5th thing we like, kind of related to the 4th thing, because if you go to lths.org, the website, and you go to athletics, you can go down the menu and there is a tab there for fall athletic stories. We have our own growing media empire that has been launched. And it's exciting news. We've brought none other than the highly esteemed, widely recognized, near and dear to Lockport faithfuls' hearts, Randy Whalen is going to be all year long writing stories for Lockport athletics and posting them on the website. He just did the story on girls golf senior night, so go up there on the website, check out that article. But Randy's great. I don't know, he was reporting for the Lockport Legend and the Homer Horizon newspapers, which have shut down. So I was a little worried that when basketball season rolled around, I always like coming out of the locker room and Randy's always there to talk to because he's always doing a story on us. So I didn't know what I was going to do all winter if I didn't see Randy. But, hey, he's back.
There you go. The return. He's back. Another fellow Porter alum. So, Randy, welcome home. Good to have you back. Lockport sports would not have been the same without Randy Whalen covering our sports. So,
it's in this age when it's easier than ever to find information. It's also harder than ever to find information, if that makes any sense. And with very limited local news media, it's hard to keep up with what's going on with the things around Lockport. That's one of the reasons we have the Porter Pridecast, to bring to you everything that's happening. We're always talking about expanding this thing and then adding new guests and new ideas. But hopefully, you could share this and people can hear what all the great things that are going on. We just talked about golf and cross country and Mr. Cunnane and Francesca Frieri. But having Randy writing articles on the website is also great because they're not getting posted in newspapers anymore. So any way to get out the Porter Pride, he'll be, you know what? This is the #1 rated podcast in the LTHS 205 listening area for Lockport Porter athletics and activities. He's going to be he's going to have the #1 rated blog for Lockport events. It's going to be top. I mean, it's
got to be.
I mean, what a great day.
He's leaps and bounds ahead of his competition.
Leaps and bounds.
He also, fun fact about Randy Whalen is he was our 100th Twitter follower, and I believe was promised a guest appearance on the show. So this is even now more reason to have him back.
I do think we're going to have to somehow join forces with them and amplify our voice a little bit here.
Well, you dropped the word empire, so I think now it has to happen.
Oh, yeah, media empire. It's true. Those are our 5 things we like. That's what's going on right now. Again, if you know of anything else that's happening and you want to share it with us, we'd be glad to try and work it into the show. And I was serious. We are always talking about expanding, how other ways to get out there's so many good things that are going on. It's hard to fit them into 5 things. So there's so many great people to talk to, students, faculty. We're always working. So be on the lookout. Follow on Twitter and Instagram, and you won't miss anything. That's really the moral of the story. Anyway, those are our 5 things we like. We are going to bring on Hall of Fame athletic trainer, newly minted Hall of Fame athletic trainer, Mr. Joe Cunnane, in just a second. So hang on right here. We'll talk to Mr. Cunnane. Okay, we are back here with our guest this week, a special guest, Mr. DeCare. Special guest.
The GOAT.
It is our privilege to be joined by LTHS athletic trainer, Mr. Joe Cunnane. And welcome, Mr. Cunnane. How are you?
Oh, good. Thanks, fellas. Thanks for letting me break this run here. I was waiting for the call to get up to the big leagues, so I'm excited to be with you. Two former students, so good to see you guys.
Once you got that Hall of Fame tag, we figured, you know what? I think it's time. I think he's at a large enough scale to meet our criteria.
I'll take it.
Well, I guess we should start there, huh, DeCare? So Mr. Cunnane was just recently honored as being inducted into the Illinois, was it the Illinois Athletic Trainers
Association?
It's Trainers Association. Okay. Thought I had it right. The Hall of Fame. So, that's a great recognition for a long and very, very well done career. So first of all, congratulations.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Tell us a little bit about that. What, were you expect that or,
Yeah, so I was fortunate to have been nominated by Mark Florence, who's the athletic trainer at Naperville Central, and then it's like a point system. So you have to have so many things involved through your career to achieve it. So it's a pretty objective measure, and it's pretty humbling because it's not something that you obviously start your career thinking about. And it's a pretty difficult bridge to cross, as far as getting in, for that matter. But so I was humbled by the honor and found out about a month ago. And generally it happens. The recognition happens at the state meeting, which is usually in November, which this year will be virtually. So I think the actual luncheon and whatnot that is normally with it will have to be bumped till next year. So I think that we'll still do something in the virtual world, but it won't be the normal pomp and circumstance. So that'll probably be held off for a year. So which is certainly fine.
They won't finish carving the bust for another year before they.
Yeah, it's a lot of granite.
Well, if you need us to come and do your intro on the virtual meeting, we'd be happy to do that.
I'll keep you on the short list. That's for sure.
That's congratulations. That's fantastic and well deserved.
Yeah, it's as I said, it's pretty humbling, and it's not the kind of thing, it's when I think about some of the people who are in there, it's like I said, I'm sure you guys can think of the Hall of Fames in your coaching organizations and whatnot. It's when you get that kind of thing, it kind of sets you back, takes your breath a little bit. So I'm again, humbled is the word I keep going back to because I don't have much better word that says something if I don't have words for it. But it's pretty cool. I'm pretty honored by it and excited by that. So yeah.
Yeah, like you said, beyond well deserved. Like Coach mentioned at the beginning, Coach Hespel and I, both former students of Coach Cunnane, working with him as athletes here at Lockport, as his students, now as colleagues. We see how much work he puts in at all times. So, congratulations. We could say that 1,000 times. So, great job, Coach. Why don't you talk to us a little bit about, kind of your the start of your career here at Lockport and tell us a little bit about that background information.
Yeah, so I've been certified athletic trainer just under 30 years now, and I had a couple jobs before Lockport, but Lockport was my first teaching job. So I started here in 1994, and I think when I got here we had 3 state championships, and now we have 19 or 20. So I say that's the Coach Cunnane factor.
That's right.
You know, so I'm pretty sure it had something to do with a lot of other reasons, but I'll
Common
take it anyway.
denominator.
That's right. I'll take it anyway. But honestly, it's been a pretty blessed opportunity because I've gotten to be at, you know, state tournaments for so many different teams. You know, you think about all the different teams that we've had across the athletic spectrum that have gone on to, you know, state trophies, if not state championships, at least state trophies, and, you know, literally the whole alphabet. You know, badminton to wrestling. You know, we run the spectrum, and so to be a part of this athletic program over those, this is my 27th year at Lockport now. So over those years has really been incredible. You know, some incredible athletes, coaches, you know, ADs, administrators, the whole thing. You know, I've gone through a lot, you know, and I'm still here. So I don't know if that's good or bad, but, you know, I think I've had like 5 ADs and 17 principals and, you know, and all this kind of stuff. So and I'm still in the same room driving the same car pretty much. So I don't know if that's good or bad, but it is what it is. So, but no, it's been a great run, you know, and you know, after my first couple of years, they started let me teach the intro to athletic training class and then the powerlifting classes, and you guys took some of those classes, and, you know, seeing some of the kids who've gone through those classes and where they are now today, you know, is really one of the things I'm most proud of. You know, guys like yourself who've gone on to be head coaches, you know, and or assistant coaches, you know, Coach Oster, and, you know, we've got a lot of alums that are head coaches or at least on our staff now, teachers and or coaches, and that's something that makes you pretty proud, you know, and or other places. You know, I've got athletic trainers who've gotten into the NFL, you know, Major League Baseball, and, you know, major college, and so those are the things that really make you proud more than anything else. Is those kind of you know, the alums and who've done so well for themselves. So that's pretty neat, and I'm very proud of that. You know, you guys on that list too, honestly. So
Yeah, for sure. Go ahead, Dakar. You got something?
Yeah, I was just going to say, you know, I took intro to athletic training my senior year. You know, it was one of my favorite classes, probably one of the classes I learned the most from. But, you know, you mentioned a couple of the, you know, some of the alums that are back to coach, but now it's got to be pretty cool. Just a couple of names that come to mind for me, you know, Tyler Johnson, Dexter Taylor, both doing strength and conditioning in college sports. Jordan Pollard, you know, doing athletic training. I think with Jessica Lickis, is she an athletic trainer?
Yeah, Nazareth High School. And,
yeah, so that's got to be pretty cool for you to have students like that go on and you know, kind of follow that path between powerlifting and athletic training. So sorry,
yeah, Mike
I didn't disappoint you that I didn't go into it, but
no worries.
You got me back regardless.
Yeah. Mike McNulty is he's the AAA athletic trainer for the Cubs organization, and he's basically their minor league athletic training coordinator. Tony Rossi, he was with the Broncos last year, and I'm not sure where he is this year. He was with Colorado for a little while, the Broncos for a little while. You know, you mentioned Jordan and Kayla Carlson. She was the athletic trainer at Bradley University for a while. She's moved into another role at another place now. So, you know, people who have gone on. I mean, it's a pretty wild, you know, to see some of the different places that people have gotten themselves, and so. It's pretty neat. You know, that Lockport umbrella is pretty big now, so it's kind of cool. So,
we're going to ask you a little bit more about Lockport history in just a second, but why don't you take us through just like what are the responsibilities different now that we're under this COVID thing? How has that changed? What do you see, you know, as new challenges, and you know, how do you think that's going to affect you having to navigate some of these other sports that maybe have been postponed or upcoming that are more, you know, contact based? What do you see different there?
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's a whole new world, so we're going to have to, you know, we have to be careful about some of the things we do in the athletic training room. You know, obviously sometimes it's a physical room, you know, where you got to be able to stretch and move and do things. So we're trying to, you know, reinvent the wheel a little bit. Things like water, you know, something like hydration, which you never had to really worry about too much. You know, how do we manage water bottles and or cups, and, you know, make sure the kids aren't touching the bottles and whatnot. And so there's some various things that we're going to do once we have to face that. Cross country, we had Mr. Dwyer did a great job with Coach Razzo and Coach Cronholm, and how to separate them as best we can, because if anybody's ever been to a cross country meet, when they finish, it gets kind of jammed up there in the finish tunnel, and so we basically recreated the way that they finished so that they could spread out and socially distant a little better. So really it comes down to a team approach where everybody thinks a little bit better. Use your coaches, use your AD, and that's where a good team approach really comes into play. And we've been very fortunate that we've been able to host some of these events and knock on wood, some decent sized events with no problems. So they're going to happen. I mean, it is what it is. When you're dealing with this kind of an infectious issue, they're going to happen. But the most important thing is give kids the opportunities to participate. And I think if we can keep doing things the right way, with masks and all the other stuff, I think we can get there. I know there's a lot of frustration, with the delays, especially with the fall sports like football and soccer, but I'm still optimistic we'll be able to run it in the spring. I do think we're going to be able to do that. We just gotta do the right things between now and then to maximize our opportunities. So, so it's been wild, again, almost 30 years. And these are the things you never really, now you got to think about things you never had to think about. You always had to think about other stuff. How do you deal with injuries? How do you deal with emergencies, etc. You never really had to think too much about, how do you get kids to drink a bottle of water, without touching it, stuff like that. And so, those are things we got to think about now, and it's just the new world we're in. So you got to adjust. You got to be willing to do it.
Yeah. In general, do you find, I think most people from the outside perspective would say, oh, football is the natural answer to this question. But I would imagine do you find that any sport in general gives more challenges in dealing with injuries than another? I know the obvious one is usually football, but I think there's probably some tricky stuff that comes up in some other things that are just, difficult. Any thoughts there?
We know who the most high maintenance athletes.
Honestly, sports like girls soccer is a very, very physical sport, and those girls are tough, and probably underappreciated for their toughness, quite honestly. Girls cross country, especially those kids are tough competitors, and they will run through things that maybe they're not supposed to run through, and so sometimes getting them to understand that rest is important and when not to run. And again, we have a lot of good support from our coaching staff, but sometimes it's the kids that you got to get to, get to buy into the fact that you got to do certain things in order to minimize the smaller injury from becoming a bigger injury, and so obviously wrestling's got its own unique issues, between just being an incredibly physical sport and that kind of stuff. And Coach Oster does, as you guys know, it's just off the charts as far as how good he is, and our kids do a pretty good job with the weight maintenance. We don't have problems like some places can you hear about stories, our kids are held accountable to doing it the right way if they're going to cut weight. But so we're fortunate that way, but it's still it's a very physical sport. I've worked the state meet about the last 10 years down in Champaign every year, and that's intense stuff, and those kids wrestle. Our kids are incredibly good, and have had so much success, but that's a sport that really has a lot of physical challenges that come with it. So those are some of the ones that come to mind.
Yeah, it's good. What do you think?
We mentioned history, and you kind of started talking a little bit about it, some of the past success of the school. Obviously tradition is a huge part of Lockport High School. When it comes to Port of Pride, Coach Cunnane, you always come to mind. I enjoy some of our conversations about the history and, different trivia facts and all that. But, with all that success, the Coach Cunnane effect, like you mentioned, it's probably hard to pinpoint just a few, but what would you say are like your top 3 Lockport favorite moments through your career here?
Well, honestly, if I had to say some of the best games that I got to kind of, witness, well, at Lockport, probably the best was, and Coach Espel's going to remember, was the triple overtime basketball game where we beat Joliet, a very good Joliet team. They had some stars on that team in the middle of a blizzard going on the outside. And so, obviously everybody's going to remember the important parts, which was what was going on the court, which is the most important thing. But what a lot of people don't remember is the door on the northeast side of the gym, there was literally snow blowing in onto the floor. And so I had like towels, and every time there was a timeout, I had to go out and make sure the floor was dry in order to make sure nobody got hurt, and so some crazy little things that I remember because I had to deal with that. So that was an incredible game. And obviously the Hinsdale Central game in football is something that is always going to go down in lore, in the world of Lockport, athletic lore. And then probably the second best football game was when we beat Weedmore'ville South in our first playoff game in forever. That was in I believe '97, and they were a two-time defending state champ, and we won that game similar to the Hinsdale game where we won it in the last seconds on actually the exact same play that we beat Hinsdale on. So thankfully Hinsdale didn't get the film, but so that was neat because it was at Lockport. It was the first home football game, playoff game that Lockport had in maybe ever. I'm not sure if they had ever had a home playoff game before that. So the town was really, really excited about that experience. So those are some big ones that that kind of jump out at you. And the state championship in softball, when the second one was pretty incredible because they had a big comeback, and Sam Finley, who obviously is a legend, hit a bases clearing double to basically secure that game. So that was a pretty phenomenal event too. So those are ones off the top of my head. There's a lot of them. You guys know I've seen them all.
Oh, yeah.
Whether it's good or bad, I've seen them all. So, some of those are the ones that jump out. That basketball game was the coming out party for Orlando Tucker too. That was his sophomore year, and I think he had 30-some points. And that was the first time that people started recognizing that kid was going to be a future star. So those are all games.
I had a front row seat sitting over there watching. Like, good job, Tuck.
Yeah,
great, man.
You might have been helping me with the towels.
Yeah. Here, wait. Good job, guys.
That was crazy with the snow.
It really was. It really was.
I don't remember that part of it, but I was scared to death because if a kid hit that floor, as good at athletes as both schools had, if a kid hit the floor that way and and hurt themselves, that could have been
Yeah, and back in the central gym, it's like it's right there. You take just a couple inches.
Yeah, it was literally getting onto the baseline. So it was just another perspective. Obviously when you're in my world, you get a different perspective. But so those are some highlights, that I'll always remember those things.
DeCare, you got any other questions here?
No, obviously I just want to like we said, we've both had a lot of experience with Coach in a lot of different, arenas, and just speaking on behalf of the football program, I know, we're beyond thankful for everything you do, not only for football, but obviously for everything Lockport. I think it's pretty special when you have a athletic trainer who's been here as long as you that is referred to as Coach Cunnane. I think that just speaks to the respect that we have. And, the history too, I completely forgot to mention the alumni wall in the weight room, for if you've ever visited Lockport, peek your head in there if you can. All the alums, if you have not seen that is awesome. All the pennants, honoring all the different athletes that have gone on and competed in college. There's some professional posters and pennants up there with the NFL and the major leagues and the NBA. So it's just an awesome tribute to the history and tradition. Just congrats, obviously, on the award. Beyond well deserved. I'm sure it won't be your last. And just thank you for everything you've done.
Yeah, we just got to get the boat back now. The boat broke down. We had the boat. I got the boat from the East Coast. That might be another episode to talk about how I got that boat.
Right.
But I think the unfortunately when we got shut out, in March, I think the autos kids and stuff were working on literally creating a new one. So we should hopefully have one in the not too distant future. But so we're not dead with that yet. It died a bad death. The lawnmower died, so we gotta make a new one for that. But that's coming back too. So hopefully we can get that tradition back online. But that alumni wall is pretty neat. If anybody ever is watching this and wants to get in touch with me on that. That was a pretty neat experience because we had people when I went out for it. I had no idea what I was getting into, quite honestly, and we had alums. I was getting notices from people whose parents graduated in the the early teens, 19s.
Yeah.
And from Dartmouth, and we had not a kid, but a guy who wrestled at Dartmouth and played football, and in colleges all over, and things of that nature. And so that was a pretty neat experience to really from an athletic standpoint, to really just get the depth of this school, how long it's been here and how many incredible athletes that were here way before any of us were around.
Yep.
And so
Yeah.
people don't appreciate this wasn't a suburban school. Lockport's been around a long time, and so,
Long time.
and that's neat. That's one of the things I love about it more than anything else is the history of just and how much the community really respects this athletic program and the school in general. I mean, it's a big deal. You guys know when we're good. When we're good, this town rocks. Rocks forward, regardless of the sport. They really get on board, and that's a neat thing. It's one of the things. It's a lot of fun when we are successful in whatever sport it may be.
Well, Mr. Cunnane, again, congratulations on the Hall of Fame. It's well deserved, and we appreciate you taking a few minutes to chat with us. We call it the Porter Pridecast because we want to highlight Porter Pride, and for someone who's been here for over 25 years, you certainly exude it as much, if not more, than anybody else. So, again, thank you and congratulations. We really appreciate you taking a few minutes.
All right, guys, I appreciate it very much. Best of luck.
All right.
Thank you.
Bye now.
All right. Well, it's always great to hear from a guy who's a Lockport legend, Mr. Cunnane there from our athletic training department. You think about kind of like his career here. He's being honored now, but he's been at Lockport for almost close to 30 years now, over 25 years.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like you start out it's just a job. It's just, you're young and you got a job and you're just trying to do a good job. And, 1 year leads to the next year. And then when you're consistent, like Joe Cunnane is, you start to develop this real attachment to the place and kind of become a fabric of it. And I feel like there's really no better example of Porter Pride than Joe Cunnane. And since this is the Porter Pridecast, it was great to have him on.
Yeah. Obviously, it's always great to talk to Coach, especially when it comes to Lockport. He's just like a vault of information, and like you said, the consistency. I mean, anytime I talk to some of my buddies or old teammates, Coach Cunnane always gets brought up. How's he doing? And like you said, the consistency. Coach is he's the exact same as he was when we were both students and athletes at Lockport. And now. Sometimes he still even yells at me the same now that he did when I was a player and student. So at least he's consistent. But like you said, what a great example of what it means to be a Porter and demonstrating that Porter pride. So I couldn't be more thrilled and for Coach getting that Hall of Fame honor. So it was great to get to hear from him.
Yeah, I mean, definitely a cool perspective from both of our point of view. We both got to be students of his and get to know him when we were in high school and now as colleagues as well. So that's really neat. All right, we got more good stuff coming up in Porter Nation. What do we got on tap here, Coach DeCare?
Yeah, a lot of, again, unfortunately, a lot of cancellations, but still got a lot of good competitions coming up here on the week ahead. So girls cross country on the 29th next week. They have a meet at home against Lincoln Way Central. So the girls cross country will now be led against Lincoln Way Central by Coach Cronholm, who is now 1 year wiser as a result of
it's true. And still has not been on the Porter Pridecast yet.
Then for the boys cross country on October 3rd, we'll be kicking off the month of October with the Locktoberfest meet at Delwood. So that's always a good time from what I've heard.
Locktoberfest, yeah. Razzle says he made up that name, but I'm not sure I believe him. It seems too creative for Raz.
That's way too creative for Coach Razzle.
Hey, but Will Kiley, who was on, he was episode 8? Will? I think so. Yeah, he was episode 8. He He won the meet against Sandberg the other day. Sandberg's a state powerhouse in boys cross country, and
Yep, always.
Will
Great
won
job,
the meet,
Will.
so that's good.
Worked his magic on the air and on the course. Switching gears here to boys golf, the 29th next week, they've got conference. So, wow, season is flying. Already in conference. And then that weekend on the 3rd, got the Bob Allen invite at Woodruff Golf Course. So, good luck, boys.
It's amazing that I feel like school year just started, and here we are talking about postseason golf already.
Crazy.
Absolutely
insane. Speaking of postseason, girls golf next week again on the 29th, have conference at Broken Arrow. So a little home course advantage.
Girls golf 10-1-1 on the season right now. You can go check out Lizzie Anderson in episode 9. We interviewed her. So go check that out, and then go right on over to Broken Arrow and watch the girls golf team. Keep
it up, ladies. Then swim on October 1st, which is a great day in one of the best days of the year from what I've heard.
Wait,
girls.
Wait, it's Julie DeCare's birthday, October 1st?
No, it's actually Coach Ziemba and Coach Visvardis' birthday. So huge fans of the show. So happy
Huge
birthday, happy future birthday. The swim team is gonna bring home a dub for you against Lincoln Way Central. So nice little early birthday present. And then rounded up here, tennis will be competing on the 29th. They'll be at Bolingbrook.
When are they not competing? Is the real
that's they definitely fill up a lot of my card. 29th, they're at Bolingbrook. Following day, they're at home against Joliet Township. On the 1st, they're at Bradley. And then on the 2nd and the 3rd is the Lockport Invitational. There was no teams listed, so I think it's an open invite. So if you got nothing going on, 2nd, 3rd.
Serena Williams. Are you out there, Serena Williams? We got an open invite for you, Lockport, Illinois. Come on out. I mean,
so yeah,
there's basically a match every day. So come on out to one of them and
choose whichever day you want. Whatever day works in your schedule. We'll find.
There's a tennis match for you one of these days.
So that's it. Good luck to all the teams and all their events, especially kicking off some of that postseason with conference. So good luck, Porters.
There's our week ahead. We actually got an idea in our rolling around up here right now on how to update this week in review. So maybe next week or the week after, or maybe you'll see it soon. Stay tuned. Don't forget to like us. Don't forget to subscribe.
Spread the word.
Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts very soon. Twitter and Instagram. You can find everything you need about the Porter Pridecast. Until next time, go Porters.
Go Porters.
Hello, what's your name?